I'm gonna be breaking down the exact system that I use to get my clients to lose weight without having to spend hours in the gym or meal prepping every single week. So this is gonna be some generic advice. This is my entire system. I'm gonna be giving it to you completely for free. And so let's get right into this. The first thing is a calorie deficit. Now, calorie deficit, if you're not familiar, is you're restricting your calories by a certain amount of number to go from maintaining weight or gaining weight to now losing weight. And so let's say you're eating 3,000 calories every single day. So that is keeping you at maintenance. That's keeping you at, let's say, 260, right? You know, maybe it's higher, maybe it's lower. I'm just using this number for example. So let's say you need to eat 3,000 to stay the same weight, right? And you're obviously trying to lose weight. You don't want to be at 260 pounds. So you need to subtract anywhere from 500 to maybe the lowest I would do is 500 to 600. Now, when you're losing weight, you're trying to get closer to that goal body weight. It's gonna need to be a smaller number because it needs to be more, not so extreme. But you can get away with an aggressive, 600 calorie deficit, and this is how you're gonna be able to lose weight. This is the only way that you're gonna be able to lose weight. It doesn't matter about junk food or I eat healthy or I run every single day or I work every day. It doesn't matter unless you're in the calorie deficit for a long period of time. And so let's say the 3,600, so now you're at 2,400, right? So now you know exactly how many calories to eat every single day. And so if you're truly eating 2,400 calories every day, then you will actually lose weight. And if you don't, then you need to make sure that you drop that number just by a little bit. I would, drop it to 2,300 and then, wait a week and see what happens. But most of the time, it's just because you're not tracking effectively, and we'll talk about tracking as well. But so first thing, calorie deficit. Now, the next thing is your protein goal. Now, this is the most important, or second most important, I would say. And the only reason it's not number one is because you could be eating a ton of protein, but if you're not in a calorie deficit, you won't be able to lose weight. And so protein goal is the second one. Now, how much of it we need to be doing? About around your goal body weight. So some people say a pound per body weight. That would say you're 260. You don't need to eat 260 grams of protein. That's dramatic, but you do need to eat around your goal body weight. So let's say you want to get down to 200. Okay, well now let's eat about 180 to 200 grams. That will be your daily goal. Now, obviously, if you've been eating 25 or less, or you don't even know how much, then it's gonna take a while to get up to 180, 200. So don't stress. This whole approach is about ramping things up slowly. Just get 1% better every single day. Don't try and go from, like we'll talk about steps in a minute. Don't go from 0 to 10,000 steps. Don't go from 3,400 calories to 2,000 calories flat. Don't, go from 0 grams of protein to 250, right? We're trying to have a sustainable method here. And so now that you know exactly how much protein and how much calories you should be consuming in order to lose weight, now we need to talk about the steps. And so for steps, I want you to do this. Take out your phone, whether it's iPhone, it's a health app. For Android, you should have either Google Fit or Fitbit, some sort of tracking that shows how many steps you're getting currently. And so you want to look at your weekly average. Now, without even trying, if you're averaging, let's say, 4,000 steps, right? That's 4,000 steps. Now I want you to increase that number by at least 500 to 1,000. And you're gonna do that every single week until you're hitting around 10,000 steps. Now, elite level would be anywhere from 12 to 14, and I wouldn't go past that unless, your circumstances cause you to get, extra steps. But 10K is a sweet spot. That'll bring you an additional, once you get to once you get to 10,000 steps, that will burn about 500 calories. And so now guess what? Now that you're in the 600 calorie deficit, guess what this number does? It goes on top of the calorie deficit number. And so now instead of being a 600 calorie deficit, now you're in a 1,100 calorie deficit. And so it's gonna double your rate of fat loss. And the best thing about steps is that it's very sustainable. When you're trying to run every single day and you're on the treadmill, then guess what? Say you're a guy who's 30, 40 years old, 50 years old, are you really gonna get back up on that treadmill the next day and go on another run and continuously until you lose all of your weight, all 60 pounds? I guarantee that it's going to be very, very difficult. And even if you do, just off of sheer willpower, do it and get down to your weight, guess what's going to happen? You're going to, burn out because you're running every single day. Your joints are hurting. You're sore. And the thing that people don't know is that running actually increases your hunger levels. And so instead of just burning a bunch of calories like you would think, it burns similar calories to walking the same amount of distance, but it's going to increase your hunger levels like crazy. And so steps is the best method because it's so sustainable. And remember, the fastest way to lose weight is the slowest, smoothest route. Because once you go down and you're down to your goal weight, you don't need to go back up. But when you go extreme, you do all these extreme methods, you're gonna yo-yo, you're gonna roller coaster, go up and down constantly. And that's where it gets super frustrating. And so we've covered all three of these, right? So we covered the calories, the protein, and the steps. Now, which is very, very important, this is one of the most important things, it's your environment. So what I mean by environment is, what does your household look like? So we got your fridge, right? You got your freezer, you got your cabinets. What does that look like? Are they full of foods that are full of high calorie, low protein foods? Then how are you going to be able to hit your calorie and protein number? How are you going to hit the 2,400 calories and the 180 grams of protein when your house is full of junk? And let's not get this misconstrued here. I'm not saying you have to swap everything out and change it with healthy food. That's a big misconception. Healthy food could be a salad that could be 900 calories. And then in that case, I'd rather eat a double quarter pounder, which is going to be similar calories, but at least it has close to 50 grams of protein. So we don't care about healthy, non-healthy. The healthiest thing that you can do for yourself is get down to your lean, natural body weight, your healthy body weight. So we're going to do that at all costs, right? So we're getting our calorie and our protein goal number. And the only way we're going to be doing that is if we have foods that are high protein, low calorie, and easy to make. And to make it even more sustainable, I would say make sure that the food genuinely tastes good. If you're eating food that you don't like, then you're not going to stick to it. The diet has to feel like it's not a diet. That's the whole thing. If you're restricting all these foods, and then you're, just gonna get down to your weight, same thing. You're gonna go up and down. So I promise you, I know it's like, what? This guy's telling me to eat Twinkies? I'm not saying to eat Twinkies. I'm saying hit your calorie deficit number, hit your protein number, and then with your leftover calories, then you can decide, okay, let me fit in some stuff that's gonna satisfy my cravings. Maybe you have a sweet tooth, maybe you like salty foods. Eat a bag of chips, a bag of Doritos, real chips, that's 150 to 300 calories, and fit them in. Or some candy or a couple cookies. That is the cheat code because it feels like you're cheating on your diet every day rather than once in a blue moon having a cheat meal and then going up and down like I explained. And so hit your numbers, fit in your stuff, and swap out all the high calorie, low protein foods with high protein, low calorie foods. And so for your fridge, it needs to have protein drinks, eggs, yogurt, right? I'm just going off the top of my head. Fruits, vegetables, things that are low in calorie, they don't have a lot of protein, but they're high in volume, so they're filling. So freezer, you want foods that are in the air fryer or microwave that you can make like this in less than 15 minutes. Any type of meat. There's chicken breast, there's breaded or non-breaded, there's beef sirloin strips, there's ground beef. There's all these types of different things that you can make. For cabinets, something like protein chips, protein muffins. There's protein in everything nowadays. They have protein cereal. You can actually combo that with some protein drink. Get like 50 grams of protein in less than 5 minutes making a cereal bowl. It's like, this is the way you should be doing it. And if you think that's lame or something like that, then it's like, I think what's lame is staying at your unhealthy body weight and not being able to be at a healthy weight and be an example for your kids and be confident in yourself. That's what's lame. And so don't try and act like this is some sort of lame thing. And so now, I explained, we'll fill the house with low calorie. We'll get high protein foods and drinks, all that. And now every single meal you eat, whether it's 5 meals, I have clients that eat 5 meals spread across. I personally eat 2. It doesn't matter, it's preference. Same thing with the time of eating, by the way. The time of eating, it doesn't matter. I eat late. I eat my first meal, I haven't ate yet, and it's 11:37 p.m. as I'm recording this. So I'll eat very late, and I don't recommend that for people. It's just preference, right? So 30 grams of protein per meal, that's what it should be. You should be making sure that you're stacking protein. I would even say go higher. The cool part is that you can always go over your protein goal. And what the protein goal is going to do is it's going to make you super full, right? And it's also going to tone you, which a lot of people don't believe to be true. They think, oh, I'm going to turn into this big old bulky, bodybuilder, especially women. But the truth is that protein changed my life when I actually hit the intake that I was supposed to. It made my face way more defined. It got me abs. When, I got to this is why some people will be the same exact weight, right? 175, but one person looks shredded, one person looks like a bag of milk. And so it all comes down to your body composition. And if you want to change that, you want to hit your protein goal. And so now we're in 8 to 10K steps. Now we're in our protein. We're doing these things, right? And so let's make sure that we're lifting at least 2 to 3 times per week. Now, the key thing here is that you actually can work out under an hour each workout. So less than 3 hours a week. So I don't want to hear that you don't have time. Even guys like Armand Cruz, who's working 85 hours, he has 3 jobs, and he's already down 10 pounds in his first, 8 days working with me. And that's because we're going through all of this. And he's just lifting 3 times per week. You can either do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, do upper, lower, upper, or do a full body on Monday, Friday. Make sure to space them out. That's on purpose. And so the whole thing with the only way you're gonna get results working on under an hour, 2 or 3 times per week is if you work out effective. On big compound lifts, you're getting strong, lifting heavy, going up each week, and that's where we talk about, where is it? Key lifts right here. And this is get stronger, progressive overload. So you're gonna have key lifts. You need to have structure. You can't just wing it and just say, I don't know what I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do curls one day, I'm gonna do squat another day. No, have key lifts. I would recommend lat pull down for your back, incline bench press, and I would also recommend that you do shoulder press. So those 3 are for your upper body, and then for lower body, just choose one. Choose the Bulgarian split squat. If you're a bit overweight and not as flexible, that's totally fine. Pick something like a lunge, a heavy dumbbell squat you can do. Just pick a leg movement that's gonna hit the quads, and that's gonna be your focus. And the key lifts is what you wanna get stronger at. And the other ones, something like a lateral raise is an isolated movement. That's where you can do lightweight, you can do a shorter rest period, and you don't really have to focus on getting stronger. You're just focusing on the intensity, going down very slow, feeling the muscle. And so this is how you can get the best of both worlds. You're getting stronger, you're building muscle, and you're able to crush these workouts in under an hour each. And so I'm telling you, this is the best method. This isn't 4, 5, 6 days of the week is better and that this is just the alternative. No, this is the most effective. Think about it. You're losing weight, you're already restricting calories, you're already rewiring new habits. You don't want to make it harder on yourself. Remember, sustainable. And so now that we're doing all these things, this is where the extra stuff comes into mind. This is the thing that a lot of people are very, very worried about in the beginning, but need to focus on all the stuff I just mentioned first and then go into it. Actually, let me mention the sleep. Sleep is part of this whole very important section. So if you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, 3 hours, that's not good. You need to try your best to be in a cold room. So you get a fan, do whatever you can. No lights. If there's a bright ass window in your room, make sure to buy a little sleeping mask, like $10, right? And then make sure that you're reducing blue light. So if you're on your phone, turn on the True Tone or whatever, make it yellow, and try to avoid screens if you can about an hour before sleeping. That's a big deal. I know some people can't. I personally use my phone all the time for work, but I do try to minimize it by using blue light blocker glasses or using the yellow screen, or just telling yourself, okay, or at least 30 minutes before you go to bed, no screens, and that will increase your sleep quality, because it's not just about how long you're laying in bed, it's about the quality of your sleep. And so try to shoot for 6 to 8 hours, because when you're not getting that much sleep, you're literally going to be hungrier. It increases ghrelin. That's the thing that makes you hungry. It's going to increase that, and it's just going to make your life more miserable. So don't run 1 million times per week, lift 1 million times per week, get no sleep. You're just going to set yourself up to be hungry, okay? And so now that this is all the main stuff, this is the extra stuff. Now, water, I wouldn't put it as like extra, but it's just something that everyone kind of knows, right? But sometimes people wake up and they have that empty stomach they're feeling. That's because you are dehydrated, not hungry. And so drink about 1 to 2 water bottles right off rip. And then, I would say that, and I would say caffeine. So that's in the drink section. I would say caffeine and water intake so you could drink the water right away. I would wait about an hour for the caffeine just so you don't have a crash. But either way, water, caffeine's a hunger stimulant. The water's gonna help you get a little bit fuller because you're actually dehydrated. And then move on to electrolytes. Start your day with electrolytes. I use pink salt. It's on Amazon. It's like $5 or $10. You can get a bucket. You just put little servings in there. That's super good. You need electrolytes for energy, right? And so, yeah, people are like, what? Salt? Isn't that bad? Your face can get bloated? No, we need salt and you need it for energy. So electrolytes for your energy, micronutrients. This is something that no one really talks about. They talk about macros, right? Like the protein, fats, carbs. They don't talk about micronutrients. So micronutrients are what we need, the essentials to make us feel better. And you're gonna get that from whole foods. So whole foods, things that grow from the ground, right? The good stuff, the chicken breast, the fruits, the vegetables, all that, right? That's where you're gonna get your micronutrients from. So you can't just eat junk, right? You gotta make sure you're eating better. But I just don't like when people say, you have to eat healthy and then they don't give any other advice. It's not just healthy food you have to eat. Whole foods are super good, they are very healthy, but do all the things that we talked about as well. And so drinks, make sure you're drinking 0-calorie drinks. Don't drink a Gatorade that's almost 300 calories or a pop. You're just wasting calories. And then, drink carbonation. Drink any diet sodas are fine. Remember, they're 99% water. It's not like some horrible thing. It's not just it pop's horrible and then diet pop's a little bit less horrible. No, diet pop is 99% water. It's fine. They've done studies on it. You can drink like 8 a day until it gets very bad. I would just recommend drinking 1 or 2. Simple. Caffeine, carbonation, these are all going to start your hunger levels. And so when you're going from eating 0 protein, you're eating all these high tasty, high calorie foods, no protein, you're not drinking the right drinks, you're drinking your calories, lots of alcohol, lots of pops, milkshakes, whatever, no caffeine, you're not drinking enough water, not getting enough sleep. This is all going to make you super hungry. Another thing, fiber, 30 to 35 grams. You don't have to treat it as much as like a daily calorie and protein goals, but have this one on the side as you kind of progress and get used to these ones. Fiber is going to make you more full. It's going to help with your digestion. Now that you're increasing your protein goal, and it's going to give you more energy. So I like to get it through like protein cereals or low carb tortillas have a very high fiber, about 14 grams I think per tortilla. So I like to do those with my chicken, make a little burrito. Like I said, some protein cereals have them. You can look it up. A lot of fruits and vegetables have fiber. So try to get your fiber intake. I know popcorn has some as well, but it's going to really change your life. You're going to be like, this is the thing is my clients and myself go to bed full or else we wouldn't do it. So you need to be satisfy your cravings, go to bed full. If those 2 things aren't happening, you're not doing these things. I promise you. And so we've covered practically everything now. I'm just making sure we're covering everything: electrolytes, micronutrients, drinks, sleep, right? And so now this is a kind of underrated one. This is one of the most slept on. Non-exercise activity. It's called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and you can say NEAT for short. So it's literally these movements. You see these little gestures I'm doing? You see when someone's shaking their leg and they're sitting down? These are all little micro movements that actually build up to burn more calories than any workout, any exercise or things that we're doing. Even you probably don't know, but when you're digesting food, you burn more calories. There's another reason why you want to eat more protein, because you actually burn more calories just eating protein because it takes longer to digest. But even with all those ways of burning calories, cardio, exercise, all this stuff, right? Non-exercise activity actually burns more because it's spread out through the entire day. So you can't really hit a goal, right? Like I'm not saying do 3 shakes per, nah, it's nothing like that, but it's like, just start being more aware of this thing, just like you're being more aware of everything else, right? It's just 1% better every day. Try to do a little more movements. Maybe shake your leg. Maybe do a little more pacing. Just small movements can burn more calories. And it's just kind of a bonus that I want to add in there because it does actually burn a lot of calories. It's something I always did. I don't know if it's ADHD or something, but I've always been kind of moving, jittery, even when I'm just sitting still. And so it's something that you can add to yourself, that even if you're just working, you work at a desk all day, try to move a little bit more. Try to get a little more activity in. And then of course, do all the things that we talked about. But I know this was a longer video. I covered a lot for you, but the truth is I genuinely want you to get the best results possible. And so I literally thought, I'm like, what is everything I do that I provide for my clients, and how can I help you implement this? And so my whole goal is I want you to implement this stuff, lose weight for yourself, and then if you think that you were like, oh my God, this guy Gavin, I don't know who he was, but he gave me this advice and it worked, and you want to reach out to me and tell me how your progress went, or you want to, you're interested in coaching, that's my goal. I want to gain subscribers on here, and I want to help people lose weight. And if that's what you want to do, then I hope that this works for you. Please give it a try and make sure to subscribe if you want to watch more content.